This is music, and this is a list of 10 awesome pieces of album cover artwork. Alright, here's my contribution to the ongoing thread. Show 10 album covers that are awesome, not including Iron Maiden. Really, it's show you your top 10, but I have changed the rules a bit, so I'm just going to show you 10 album covers that I think are awesome. It's not a ranked list, it's not my top 10. It's just 10 that I picked from a large corpus of album covers that I think are awesome. So, let's get to it. Up first, I don't know if this is a surprise or anything, but Agent Steel's Skeptic's Apocalypse. So what's so special about this? It's just a picture of the surface of the Earth, and then you got the logo. First off, I love the logo. It's just so 80s that it hurts. It's great. I love this logo. Secondly, this album cover is the perfect piece of cover artwork for this band, because their concept is kind of like conspiracy theories and aliens and all that stuff. And if you sort of view this cover art against the backdrop of the album, or sorry, the album too, but the band's kind of concept, then this becomes very ominous and oppressive suddenly, and almost kind of like scary, and fills you with cosmic horror, because yeah, you got the Earth here. What is out there? What is this light? Is it the sun? Is it some alien spacecraft or something, you know? So I think this is actually a perfect piece of album cover artwork for this band. So that's Skeptic's Apocalypse by Agent Steel. Speaking of Apocalypse, here we have Apocalypse by Apocalypse, the Four Horsemen variant. There's another variant with a big blue bat on it, but I think this variant here is far superior. I think it's a great piece of cover artwork. I think it's painted. I love how mean the horses look. I love the composition. I love the logo of the band here. I love the color scheme. And I really like how the artist has managed to imbue each of these four horsemen with kind of like personalities in the way that they're depicted. So I think this is a great piece of album artwork as well. Really good stuff there. So that's Apocalypse by Apocalypse. And up next, you got this one here, one of my favorite power metal albums, and hands down my favorite Blind Guardian album. And the cover art is also really great. I again really like the composition, the color scheme. I like the contrast between the kind of dark and cold background and then the brightness and slight warmth of the characters in the foreground. I like how it kind of depicts, I think, the Bart song, that scene. And I really love the detail that each of the characters have, in the outfits and the things they've brought with them. I like how you got these demonic creatures in the background. And again, this is an artist that has managed to imbue sort of personality into the characters depicted, to the point that or at least that I started thinking, okay, so what's up with this guy? What's up with this lady? What's that bird all about? What's their backstory? So, and that's a perfect piece of cover artwork, I think, for a power metal release, right? It's fantasy. It fits into some kind of narrative. Just great, I think. So yeah, that's great. Staying within the world of fantasy. Bolt Throwers War Master. This one is so new. I picked it up yesterday, so I haven't even unwrapped it yet. I could have picked any of Bolt Thrower's sort of Warhammer style album covers. Most of them are kind of like, what is it called? Warhammer 40,000 something, where you got like in the future with the Ultramarines and Gene Stealers and all that kind of stuff. I actually don't think they have Gene Stealers of any of their album covers, but sort of the futuristic stuff. But this one is kind of like more like Warhammer, like fantasy. So you got this barbarian with a bloody sword. You have other kind of knight characters with masks in the background, just chopping away at some unseen enemy. Basically, they might be chopping away at you, right? Because of the perspective there. The back shows that it's a massive battle that's going on, and you got this kind of spire in the background. So I think this is great. I love all the bolt thrower albums, and I love all the covers of all their albums. For Victory 2, I actually like that very much. Mercenary, great as well. I really love the cover artwork of Those Ones Loyal, because I managed to actually find the sculpture in, I think it's St. James's Park or something, that they took the picture of. So that's pretty cool too. But yeah, Bolt Thrower, War Master, also fantastic logo and fantastic death metal band in general. More fantasy, so that might kind of be a theme. Cirith Ungol, and this is the Frost and Fire one. This is a fantastic piece of album cover artwork. More fantasy. As far as I remember, all their covers are kind of taken from a kind of book series, fantasy book series. But this is just fantastic. It's dynamic. Composition again, great. You got this character, maybe it's some kind of elf or something with, you know, this pale skin, the white hair, the sword. You got the wind blowing in his hair. You have some kind of dragon or something in the background, or flying dinosaur or whatever. You got this kind of skull here. The color scheme is great. And I also like how I recognize this, because back in the day I used to play a lot of RPGs, like pen and paper, tabletop stuff. And we played a Swedish RPG called it's called Dragons and Demons, translated into English. And one of their, I don't remember if it was their basic rule set or their advanced rule set, but they actually used this exact same piece of art on the box. So that's great. Okay, up next, more kind of a more abstract, I think, piece of cover artwork. Invocators, Excursion Demise, kind of like just icy cold color scheme. You got these weird hooded figures with this kind of weird, almost organic kind of stuff growing out of their faces, into another kind of like maybe hooded character, which then you got some kind of like morphs into some blue flames with some tortured faces in them, and you got this kind of weird, again, growth, sorry, going the wrong way, this growth here going into the faces of these hooded figures. And the cover artwork is just awesome, I think. And you got the logo, which I also always liked, that logo, to the point that I did design a logo myself once for a band that just copied the stylings of Invocators logo, so that never went anywhere. Anyways, Judas Priest, Sad Wings of Destiny, might be, if not their best album cover artwork, then at least one of them. I think just fantastic, and actually lots of details if you really zoom in on it. And I like how, again, if you really look at it, it's, I don't know how they sort of produced it, but there is a certain kind of like almost like comic book or graphic novel cover art style to this. I don't know if that was the intention, but just looks awesome. Great stuff, and a great album too. Back to the Earth here. There's just the hype sticker was kind of in the way. Back to the Earth, Nuclear Assault, Handle with Care. Again, just a picture of the Earth, but just fits perfectly with the title of the album, right? Handle with Care. The Earth is fragile. And also, Nuclear Assault do have some sort of environmentalistic messages as well, so that also just fits the cover artwork extremely well. So I actually really like this. Is probably my favorite cover artwork by nuclear assault. I do like the ones with the nuclear explosions and all that stuff, but there's just something haunting and also ominous about this cover artwork too. So that's Nuclear Assault, Handle with Care. Love that album, love that cover artwork as well. Another album that I just love, favorite album of mine, one of them, The End Complete by Obituary. You got this barren landscape, of course, awesome logo, but you got this barren landscape. Just fits the dark and muddy kind of sound or tone of the guitar in this album, and the title track. Whenever I listen to it, it sort of evokes this imagery, and I think they revisit this landscape, just covering it in ice on is it called Frozen in Time, one of their more recent albums, which is great too. But yeah, The End Complete, dark and bleak landscape, just great stuff, looks great, and of course one of the best I think logos in the history of death metal. The next one and that's the last one too, Port Royal by Running Wild. I picked this one because it has a lot of detail to it, and it's also kind of humorous. The band members are presented in a kind of a humorous fashion. It looks almost like caricature, and of course you have Adrian hanging out with them. They're in some kind of probably pirate bar on somewhere in Port Royal, perhaps, having a good time, drinking some beer. So I kind of like the humorous and caricature kind of aspect of it, but at the same time it's very competently done, lots of detail. You can spend hours probably looking at this and just finding new details. And it's a great album too, fantastic, kind of like somewhere in between trad metal and power metal, like the sort of very original sound of Running Wild. So yeah, these were 10, I think, awesome pieces of cover artwork, not including Iron Maiden. Thanks for watching.